welcome Jaguars. My name is Kassandra.
And I'm Adan.
And we're your hosts for Keeping It Real with the Jaguars. We're so excited for you guys to be joining us today for the premiere of our show, world premiere. Here with Keeping It Real with the Jaguars, we get to talk about just pretty much all things that students get to experience in the community, like life stories, shared experiences, problems. Pretty excited.
Yeah. Today, for the premiere of our show, we'll be discussing two major issues happening right now in the South Bay, which are the long border wait times and how this impacts our students, and as well as the water contamination crisis happening in Imperial Beach.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have two interviews scheduled for today. We also got to spend some time talking to some students around campus. So that was, really great. Specifically, we'll be talking about the border issue and the border crisis happening first. So I'll pass it on to you because you seem to, relate a lot to that situation.
Well, thank you very much for your introduction, Cassie, and the breakdown. The issue about the border wait times actually affects me as a student. Someone that has to do 2 hours of, just commute to get here to school, and everything's for that dream, right? That American dream. And well, sometimes we pay with different forms, and right now I'm paying with my time, but I know it's gonna pay off. It's very important, to get an education, especially a first world country one.
So what time did you wake up this morning in order to get to school?
Well, in order to get at 8 here, I woke up at 4:30.
4:30.
4:30 in the morning.
So that's almost about 4 hours that you have to wake up before then. So what time do you go to sleep? If you have to wake up at 4:30, actually, wait.
Around 10.
Okay, not 8 hours of sleep, but okay.
Exactly.
I'm sure that affects your mental health and your.
Oh, it does. But all those questions, our guests that we're gonna have today, he's gonna help us clarify them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we get to our guests, we have a student that's eager to speak to us regarding the border crossing and their experience with it.
Okay.
But we also have a couple of interviews with some students that I was able to do around campus. I'm excited for you to see them. I came really early, but it was worth it. It was worth it to be able to speak to these students and really get their stories and hear, how this long border time affects them, both mentally, emotionally, academically. It's pretty concerning. So we'll be able to take a look at those.
Awesome. Let's go take a look.
Yeah. Definitely sounds like we'll be getting some good experiences, and excited to also interview our next student as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at these interviews with the students.
Hi, Jaguars. I'm here today on the beautiful Southwestern College campus, where I got the chance to personally speak to the students that have been impacted themselves by the ongoing border crisis and sewage crisis. Thank you for being here today. We wanted to ask you, do you use the border at all to cross to school?
I do actually cross every single day. Last semester, it was kind of trouble. I was getting late every single day. So it was kind of hard in that way.
Were professors understanding about it, or was it just kind of left to you to figure out how to resolve it?
Well, it was kind of my way only. It's not that I want to be late, it's that I just I do my best. I wake up 4 hours before my class and I still make it late. So it's not always on me, but I understand people not understanding it, because they're not living it.
So we wanted to know if you yourself have ever been impacted by crossing the border to get to school in any sort of way. So do you have much to speak about that?
Yeah, it was really hard, especially because since I used to start my classes at around 8:30, I'd have to be there basically a little earlier. But because of the traffic, you never know how long it's going to be. There'd be times where it'd be a line wait of an hour to 5, and that would really impact if I was there early enough to get breakfast from school, and if I was early enough to make it to my math class. And it impacted my grades and honestly my mental health. There'd be times where I just didn't feel like doing anything, and that honestly would contribute to how I do in my classes.
Is there anything that you would want to share maybe to school officials or to even delegates or anybody that's working on this potentially, hopefully, to get them to understand that, maybe it's not the student's fault, or anything that you'd want to say to the school?
I think a little bit more patience on the students, because it's such a hard thing to even bring forward, like encourage students to bring forward their problems and issues, and I guess have a little patience, or I don't know, connect them with people who have been through the same things and how they managed to get better.
This was Kassandra Amador with Keeping It Real with the Jaguars.
Well, hello guys, how you doing? Thank you for coming back. Here we have our guest speaker. His name is Esteban, a student here at Southwestern Community College, coming all the way from Rosarito, he was telling me right now. How you doing, Esteban?
Hi, how you doing? I'm doing fine, I guess.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate you coming for the world premiere.
Yeah. World
Awesome,
premiere,
dude.
that's awesome, actually.
Okay, so Esteban, tell us a little bit about your day-to-day. What time are you supposed to be here at school? What time do you wake up? What's your commute like?
Well, I usually get here at 10. So in order to get here at 10, I need to wake up at 4. Yeah,
Wow.
so it's crazy. And sometimes, well, not sometimes, basically all the time I need to cross walking because I don't have a car. So it's very, well, the people there, they have like other morals. They're not usually nice people.
Oh, really? Wow, that's kind of
So rude.
Sounds really bad and quite a hassle, right? And tell me, which lanes do you use to cross? Because the other day I was researching, and there's 3 lanes, right? It's the century lane, the ready lane, and the normal lane.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I have ready lane, so
Oh, you have ready lane, which
Yeah.
is like the middle one.
the middle one.
Yeah, you're like middle class. Okay, yeah, sounds good, man.
So do those tiers then, it depends on how fast you cross the border?
Yeah,
What if you can't, do you have to pay for Sentry?
I think so.
What
yeah.
if you can't afford to, like, what if there's students that can't afford to pay for those fast passes to get to school? Are there students like that you know?
Well, me.
Oh yeah, of course, you as well. Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. You actually need to pay to have like an appointment, and they need to review your. Oh,
They do a
what did they
background
review?
check, right?
Yeah,
Background
background check.
check.
Yeah, background check. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. And all right, well, tell me a little bit. How has this affected your personal life, your mental health,
Yeah.
your academic performance, right? Because you do 6 hours of commute, which is
Yeah.
horrendous.
It's a
You
lot.
know.
It's a lot.
Well, I don't usually have time to do homework, so I don't have time for homeworks, no time for breakfast, and when crossing, there's like a huge problem about sometimes drugs, but mostly tobacco and smoking. I don't have a problem with it, but I'm allergic to plants, so I'm always with a headache or feeling really bad. And it's just not on Tijuana side, but also on San Diego side, a lot of those type of people. Yeah.
And of the both borders that there are, which is El Chaparral and the San Isidro.
Yeah.
Which one is your favorite, or which one is the one that you use the most?
My favorite is Chaparral because it's faster and, well, the stores are next to it. But the one I use mostly is the San Isidro one because it's easier to get to school.
A great place, a great place. Well, you know what? I just want to thank you for coming out here
Thank you.
and giving us your perspective about the crossing and, you know, most of your day-to-day activities.
Thank you so much. We have a quick commercial break that we have to get to, but Jaguars, stick with us because after this commercial break, we're going to be talking a little bit more about water and contamination in the South Bay. So thank you. Welcome back, Jaguars. I am your host, Kassandra, and this is Adan. And thank you for joining us here with Keeping It Real with the Jaguars. So now we would like to transition and talk about a little bit more with the current situation in IB, Imperial Beach, the contaminated beaches happening there specifically. For God knows how long. I'm sure you're aware of everything that's been going on in IB, the contaminated beaches, the warnings that's been going out to not swim there, to not even go there. Even the sand is like kind of at a different, level compared to other beaches. And it's just very upsetting, because I'm someone that, from San Diego, born and raised, that my go-to activity to do was go to the beach, So it sucks that my nearest beach, living in Chula Vista, is IB, Imperial Beach, but I have to drive 30, 40 minutes out to like La Jolla or Del Mar because I can't swim at that beach, I can't surf at that beach, I can't enjoy. Yeah, it's upsetting. And this is just me upset because I can't do like leisure things, Like imagine the people that live in IB that have to like deal with the constant smell or the constant warnings. Like imagine paying for your home on the beach and you can't even use the beach. Like it's upsetting,
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And even the fishermen there are having problems with the fish, because it's contaminated fish. They cannot even eat it. So.
Imagine the marine life, even that, because even just thinking outside of like the fish we eat, like just imagine these poor sea creatures that have to like endure that. It's upsetting. It's frustrating. I get really passionate about it because I was born and raised here. These are my beaches. I take it personal. So. It's upsetting. I did get to speak to a lot of students actually that were also equally upset with the water contamination that's been happening. That being said, we're going to take a look at some of them. We're going to be able to listen in on how it impacts them specifically because that's a big deal. So let's go ahead and take a look and hopefully you like them.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah? Okay.
Have you heard about the ongoing sewage crisis that is happening over by our Imperial Beach waters?
Yes, I've heard about it. I've been involved with it. I've been affected by my health. I'm basically like 5 blocks away from the beach, and there's no AC vents and everything, so it's basically I have to close all my windows at night, and it gets so hot in there, and even when I have my window open, I smell it and I just get really affected by it. I don't drink my own water and everything. I have to buy bottled water. We're trying to sell our house right now and I don't want to bring it up, but I have to. I have to bring up that it smells and you're going to get sick and it's just going to be all over health problems. And it's just hard to escape that. It's not fair to us that we're struggling and we're putting so much money into other countries. Help yourself and then help other people, basically.
Is there anything you'd like to say to the community?
I was born and raised here, and I really want to see a change in everything. It's not fair to me or the community that I'm paying so much money in rent right now and being sick all the time. I love San Diego, but I just can't afford to live here anymore. It's becoming just a sluggish town, and I don't want to see that because I didn't grow up like that.
Have you been personally impacted by this crisis?
Yes, I live by San Isidro, by the Bayer Trolley Station. I live over there, and I smell every night. It's very bad. I need to close the window because it's small.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much for giving us your input about what's going on. If you have anything to say to the politicians or the lobbyists or any sort of council members that are trying to work towards getting this crisis resolved, what would you tell them?
To clean everything.
This was Kassandra Amador with Keeping It Real with the Jaguars.
All right, so those are my interviews. Again, I did this very early on my day off, so I'm glad that they turned out well. But no, I was able to really speak to these students and hear their stories. As you heard, a lot of students feel very passionate about this, and they're hurt by this. So it was really, it meant a lot to me to be able to speak
You
to
did
them.
a great job with those interviews.
Thank you.
I got to see you walking around the campus with that camera and the microphone.
I know. Credit to my team, too, for going out there with me. But, it was really cool to meet these interesting people. And it wasn't hard to talk to them or to find them.
So you really felt these people that they actually feel something about this problem.
Yeah.
They are really concerned about it.
Absolutely. And, going into it, I'll be honest, I was afraid that I was the only one that was maybe passionate about it. And when I was trying to find people to interview, it wasn't that hard because it was very easy for people to just, want to speak about this on a platform, on a public platform. So it was great. We actually have an interview that we're going to get to with someone from the Health and Human Services Department. I'm really excited about that. But for now, we're going to get a quick commercial break. And after the commercial break, we'll talk to the expert. So thank you so much. We'll be back, Jaguars.
Thank you.
Jaguars. We are back for the last part of our episode today, unfortunately. But we have a very special guest today joining us from San Diego Health and Human Services Agency, Dr. Mark Beatty. Welcome, Dr. Beatty.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you so much for joining us today.
And, for being here and opening up a small part of your day, to be here and help out the students and the community and learn how we can help solve this problem.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Happy to do it.
So we'll start, Dr. Beatty. Just go ahead and tell us about your role with the Epidemiology and Immunization Services branch.
So I'm the Assistant Medical Director within Epidemiology and Immunization Services. I'm a physician. And so my role is to provide medical information oversight when there's outbreaks and other kinds of investigations going on within the county.
And how many years have you been a part of this branch?
I've been working there for about 4 years now.
Okay, nice, nice. Have there been any impacts that your branch has done for the community, specifically our students in San Diego? What kind of things does your branch do for us?
Well, I mean, for universities and schools, the county has a program that reaches out both to public schools but also institutes of higher education. All through the pandemic, we ran informational sessions to answer questions and provide what was going on with the pandemic. And after the pandemic resolved, we've continued to keep those relationships to try and reach out and provide information like this when it's needed.
Yeah. Well, based on your relationships with these colleges and these different areas of education, have you found or seen yourself that they have had to alter certain activities like field trips and such? Like specifically, I want to talk about Imperial Beach and a lot of, I remember being a child and going to a field trip to learn about marine biology at the beach at Imperial Beach. So things like that, I wonder if you've noticed a change in the way the curriculums have worked because of this water crisis.
Yeah, so specifically in the last year, there have been increased flows of sewage in the Tijuana River Valley. And then with the heat during the summer, it created an increase in hydrogen sulfide gas, which is it smells basically like rotten eggs, but it can cause symptoms of headache, nausea, vomiting, eye irritation, throat irritation. In terms of this impact on schools, some of the schools, when the heat was at its worst in early September, did change stop having outside activities, stop having lunch outside. in the public schools and reduce outside and after school activities to kind of keep the kids away from the odors that were causing symptoms.
Wow, wow. So you mentioned that there are some possible health risks that some residents are facing. Can you go a little bit more into that? I mean, it's a concern, I would think, for a lot of students, but just residents in San Diego. What are the health concerns that they should probably be aware of or keep track of or monitor?
Yeah, so the first part is the contaminated sewage getting into water. So, and then that water flows out to the ocean and results in beach closures.
Right.
Physical contact with contaminated beach water could lead to certain kinds of infections. So skin infections, rashes. If you ingest that water, then you could get a GI illness like nausea, vomiting, or diarrhea. It could cause ear infections and other things if you have physical. That's why the beaches are closed.
And this sewage has spread. How far is it spreading? Is it affecting beaches in Del Mar, or has it been affecting?
It has gone. I mean, it's been going up all the way up to Coronado Island, which has had closures on and off, but mostly from the Strand south. The beaches have largely been closed.
And mostly right now it's getting cleaned because of nature just doing it? Or are we doing anything?
Yeah, if the flows are high, eventually, the rates don't go down low enough to reopen the beaches, so the beaches will stay closed until they're testing safe. But the counts eventually will go down if the sewage were to stop flowing. If it continues, then it will keep the beaches, especially the ones closest to the mouth of the estuary, closed.
Oh, okay. And this is going to be a little bit awkward question, but is there any particular organism that is actually benefiting from this sewage, or is it just negative?
Yeah, it's not a good situation, because any kind of illness that's transmitted by that could cause a diarrheal illness or is transmitted by stool could cause an infection in a human or a pet that goes into the water.
And how many cubic feet of water are we, putting into the ocean?
I believe it was on the order of, hundreds of thousands of gallons of sewage.
Oh, okay.
Now, let me ask you this, Dr. Beatty. Do you think that the students and the residents here are receiving adequate support from the community, from the government, the county, for example, where you come from, particularly in terms of clean water, healthcare, and other essential resources? Do you think students are getting enough help for this crisis, residents, students, for this crisis, or do you think that there should be more done?
Well, I think more is being done. We at the county are definitely doing our part in terms of trying to investigate the causes to see if there's illness associated with the sewage flows, to see how people are being affected by the odors that are occurring. Right. We've had the Center for Disease Control come out to assist us to do a number of surveys to put some numbers behind the stories that we are often hearing about people and their experiences in South Region. And so there's a lot going on at the county. And the universities are also doing their own part in doing research projects on this.
Okay, well, that's good to hear, and us residents, we want to, of course, make sure that we are being taken care of, especially living in San Diego. I was telling my co-host here that San Diego, it's the beaches are a staple. You grow up and the beaches are a common thing that you do, a common activity, a free activity a lot of the time. So it's good to know that you guys are at least working and doing everything that you can to get this resolved. If I may ask, just this Tuesday, actually, Tuesday the 12th, we learned that Chula Vista leaders approved a local state of emergency due to the sewage crisis. Have you heard about this? Do you have any insight on that recent state of emergency that's been enacted?
Yeah, they've joined other jurisdictions in declaring that state of emergency, and it's really to raise awareness about this environmental situation that's going on. It's different from a public health emergency, which has not yet been declared, but all of these efforts are definitely raising awareness about the problem, both at the local, state, and federal level.
Okay, and the awareness that we want to raise, who is it that we're trying to get awareness to? Is it legislature and in the federal level? Is it our local government? What is it that we're trying to raise awareness for?
Well, first, the county is interested to know how we could help and provide advice to people about when there are situations like increases in the hydrogen sulfide levels in the air. What can people do to reduce them? And we can provide advice both to the community and to schools about what recommendations you could do to avoid that. Like staying inside, using air purifiers, particularly those with charcoal or magnesium permanganate to reduce odors can be helpful. And so we are developing as we speak guidance about what to do when the levels are increased.
Great. Wow, that's great. I really want to say thank you for being here, for speaking to us, with us students, with us Jaguars, because really I've learned a lot, even just having you sit here, and I think it's crucial for us as students to understand, just as you said, raise awareness, and really just really understand the impact of how this is affecting us. So we really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Jaguars, that is all the time we have for today. So we want to give a special thanks to our guests for being here and for taking the time out of their day to be here with us and for being a part of this program. This has been a wonderful first premiere of our show. Adan, thank you for being here.
Yeah,
thank you
of course.
to our guest.
And for our next episode, we'll be talking about food and culture and food on a budget for students. We have been exciting things to talk about and amazing activities planned out for you. So stay tuned. I am your host, Adan.
And I'm your host, Cassie.